The Pan Africanist Congress will launch its election manifesto in Duduza, Ekurhuleni today. The party is claiming that under its government, no public entities will degenerate. We now cross live to our reporter Abongile Dumako, who is there. Abongile, very good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Just quickly paint a picture for us of what's expected of this manifesto launch today.
President Ekurhuleni will take to the podium at about 10 o'clock this morning, talking to the potential voters and, of course, the party members who are expected to gather any minute here at this Monty Mutlowing Hall in Duduza here in Ekurhuleni. This is, of course, where the party is expected to actually sell, what it brings to the fore if it gets to govern in any municipality in South Africa, trying to make sure that those voters that are so important and imperative come the 1st of November, they come to their bag so that they can be able to trust what they made of. The PAC, as everyone knows, has not been without any challenges. Some of those challenges have been in and out of courts, but we are here now to witness the launch of their manifesto building up to the local government elections. And of course, when we arrived here a couple of minutes ago, we can see that there is still some logistical things that are being finalized in preparation for that 10 o'clock a speech which will be delivered by Ekurhuleni, so the party's president. But now I'm joined by Papo, a member of the party. In fact, he's also a spokesperson for the party, joins us now. Good morning. Thank you so much for your time. You're starting at 10 o'clock. What can we expect?
Good morning, and good morning to all the listeners. Today, as you correctly pointed out, we are launching our election manifesto. In our manifesto, you'll find 5 critical areas. One, we scan the environment of the local government currently as it stands. And we provide, secondly, we provide the alternative as an organization. We also provide that what type of candidates is the organization going to have going to these elections. We also give a brief background as to where do we come from as an organization, our struggle credentials. And lastly, we make a pledge to the people of South Africa and our members of the PAC.
And certainly there's a lot of anticipation ahead of what Ekurhuleni has to say here with regards to the PAC's manifesto. But what are your targets in as far as municipalities are concerned? Where are you mostly focusing on come the 1st of November?
We are contesting many municipalities throughout the country. We are mainly contesting all the metros in the country. We are also contesting 7 provinces. And in those 7 provinces, we are contesting the majority of municipalities. And our target really is to do better than in the previous elections.
And of course, certainly there's been a lot of squabbles, if one can use that word, within the PAC. How are you going to convince the voters that, in fact, now there is stability, they can trust you?
That is history. That is water under the bridge. We no longer have such challenges. And the PAC has been able to deal with those challenges through the courts, as you correctly pointed out in your intro, because we are law-abiding citizens. We will not go out and kill each other in order to resolve our problems. So we resorted to a lawful way of resolving our problems, and that has been done. And now the organization can focus and move forward. For us, we no longer have challenges, much as we admitted that in the past we used to have challenges. But now, as an organization, we are moving forward, and we are telling our people that they can trust this organization with its rich history and the struggle credentials that it has.
We are a few minutes now from Ekurhuleni taking to that podium behind you there to talk to the PAC voters and PAC members. I don't see many people here. Why?
No, there are many people that are coming. Remember, it was heavily raining some few minutes ago. In fact, an hour ago. We're still expecting a lot of buses that are coming and a lot of taxis that are coming. This hall is very small, but we had to respect COVID-19 regulations. Remember, when we announced the launch, we were still under level 2. So our plan were around 250 people in this close vicinity. But now that we have moved, we are thinking of even having an outside area where we can accommodate our members. But unfortunately, because of rain, we are having those challenges. But definitely, throughout the country, our members will be here. You'll see them today in their numbers. You will not leave here without seeing them.
Abapo, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Simply, there you have it. Abapowe speaks on behalf of the PAC. I might want to clarify that boom that you heard is actually a balloon that is being, used as a decorating. There's no guns. At least we have not witnessed anything of that sort thus far. But Abapowe, who speaks on behalf of the PAC, seems confident that they are going to do things right now that they are no longer having to go in courts and sort out their leadership squabbles, saying that they are ready to govern across the country in all the municipalities. Simpiwe, something that we are going to witness come the 1st of November when the elections do eventually take place. We will wait to see if they've done enough on the ground to convince potential voters that indeed PAC is intact, that indeed the party of Robert Sobukwe is actually ready to take the throne and show the South Africans that it's got what it takes to make it a point that it brings those much needed services to the people. I can actually hear some music coming out of this hall. I would imagine it's people arriving to attend this manifesto launch. I'm going to ask Utatu Pan Matebula to show us what is actually transpiring right there by the entrance of this hall. You can hear that there is some music taking place. We wonder what's going on, but certainly so far what we've witnessed Simpiwe is quite interesting, as these final logistics that are being done here in preparation for that 10 o'clock speech by Mzwanele Nyonzo, who is the president of the PAC. So there you go, a few PAC members trying to showcase that they are ready to hear what Mzwanele Nyonzo has to say in regard to the manifesto launch.
Abongile, I suppose then that the 1st of November will be the deciding factor or the deciding date for the voters and as well as members of the PAC, whether they will be giving the PAC the mandate to govern the municipalities that it professes to govern, as the party that professes to under its leadership will be governing, and there will be no state entities that will be degenerating. So just from what you've gathered, Abongile, what's the view? I mean, what's the thought and what's the feel on the ground of how people look at the PAC and how they feel about whether it does have the gravitas and the potential to deliver on its mandate?
Well, when you speak to ordinary people, even my friends for that matter, when we sit in gatherings and talk about politics, people still have hope in the PAC. But mainly they are disappointed with what we've seen transpire with regards to these intentional factional battles that have been playing out of the PAC. So one thinks that the challenge again comes to the very party and its leadership under Mzwanele Nyonzo to go the extra mile to assure voters, to assure South Africans who still believe in the party that in fact they've got what it takes to actually bring back that integrity that it used to hold some years back, to say that give us a chance during these elections, we will show to you. Remember, in the national elections that were taking place, we've seen the PAC managing to have one seat in parliament, which one thinks signals that should they have been going the extra mile to campaign and convince the voters, they would have been able to garner more support, which is now another chance for them to prove that they've got what it takes to actually come to the fore and actually show South Africans that they are able to do what is expected of them as one of the most, one of the oldest liberation movements in the country. Going on the ground, yes, there was some visibility of the PAC on the ground, even under the shade of the fact that there's always been those internal battles. But now it remains to be seen from right here whether that which they've been doing, which is to go out on the streets, will translate on the numbers of people who are expected to gather here. They are starting at 10 o'clock, it's 9:30 now. I would imagine by now we would have been seeing quite a number of people, but Abapowe is adamant that there are buses that are still coming here to actually, bus people to come attend this manifesto launch. It's a matter of waiting and see. One even wonders if they will be able to start on time at 10 o'clock and get to deliver that manifesto launch. So yes, the challenge still lies ahead for them to go all out, even beyond this manifesto launch that is taking place today, to convince the voters that they've got what it takes. They are actually now intact and ready to take the PAC forward.
Abongile, you did mention that they were quite visible on the ground, but how much of an impact did the leadership squabbles have on the preparations or the party's preparations for this election?
Definitely there is some impact that it has, as much as the court has pronounced that the legitimate leader of the party, remember there was this fighting between Mzwanele Nyonso and Narias Muloto, saying that either of them is actually the legitimate leader. The court has made a pronouncement that in fact Mzwanele Nyonso is the one who is legit, who was elected at a conference in the Free State, that he's the one who's actually supposed to take the throne. That has happened. They've been doing their groundwork, going out to actually canvass. We've seen Mzwanele Nyonso, even in the Eastern Cape, going the extra miles in Mthatha to say, you know what, let's do this thing right. Again, it remains to be seen then. The 1st of November will eventually arrive to see whether or not what they've been doing on the ground, talking to the masses, will translate on the polls. And of course, if the factional battles which Apapowe claims they've been settled out now, however, my understanding is that Narias Moloto is appealing that very court announcement that actually said Mzwanele Nyonso is the legitimate leader of the PAC. We wait and see then if that will not have any hiccups in these few days, 29 days if I'm not mistaken, ahead of that election. We will see if at all that will have any negative impact. But the PAC, which I've spoken to right now, under Apapowe, who speaks on behalf of them, saying that in fact that is water under the bridge. We wait and see.
Wait and see we will, Abongile, and we'll wait and see what the PAC is promising voters. Thank you so much for your time. Well, I'm going to let you go for now. We'll be touching base with you a little later on as soon as the manifesto launch, gets underway.